Belal Muhammad has taken the worst part of his game and somehow made it his entire game. His entire rise to the title was a masterclass in pressure, cardio, and wrestling. They defined Belal Muhammad's game. The success of his striking was a side effect of these things, not something that worked in spite of them. He broke his opponent's will to fight by keeping a pace that no man besides Belal Muhammad could keep up with. Against Gabriel Bonfim, that version of Belal Muhammad was nowhere to be found. Once Bonfim denied the first takedown, Muhammad abandoned the best part of his game completely. Rather than doubling down on the wrestling, he spent the rest of the fight trying to force the worst part of his game to work. He walked on to punch after punch, fighting Gabriel Bonfim's fight instead of his own. Wrestlers falling in love with their hands is a tale as old as time, and it's exactly what happened to Belal, remember the Canelo hands Muhammad. He became too confident in his hands as a standalone part of his game and forgotten why they were successful in the first place. The bad part is this isn't even a one-off performance. This story has been the same in his last 3 fights. Belal Muhammad failed to effectively pressure Jack Della Maddalena, resigned himself to boxing with Ian Machado Gary, and against Gabriel Bonfim, he suffered the consequences. Once on top of the world, Muhammad has followed a path many champions have taken before him. He lost the thing that made him a champion in the first place. At 37 years old, there's a very real chance that the old Belal Muhammad is never coming back. Seriously though, guys, like watching Muhammad fight the entire fight, I just couldn't help but feel a sense, I don't want to be like, oh, I felt sorry for him and stuff, but like, that's not the Belal Muhammad that defied the odds and that changed everybody's opinion on what a champion could be. If you remember back to when he was champion, it was him, Dricus du Plessis, and Merab Dvalishvili. It was a bunch of cardio, pace, putting on type fighters. And now we've got a Belal Muhammad that's just kind of resigned to throwing ones and twos and not hurting anybody with them. Gabriel Bonfim ate every single punch that Belal Muhammad had. He laughed at him. It was one of the worst, I don't want to say worst performances, because Belal had some good moments, like, don't get me wrong, but it was one of the worst showings I've seen ever from him. Like, Ian Machado Gary, we can give him credit for him. Like, Gary is a brilliant game planner, and he did a really good job of keeping Belal Muhammad at bay. And then the Jack Della Maddalena fight was just like the perfect storm. This guy's perfectly built to beat Belal Muhammad. But this fighter, man, Gabriel Bonfim, he's a good fighter, but he doesn't do anything special. He doesn't do anything that's like makes me say, wow, that guy is something great, because I don't know if he is. I can't tell if he's great. Instead, we watch Belal Muhammad walk on the punches all night, get laughed at by Gabriel Bonfim, and just get battered out. And it was crazy too, because like Muhammad's throwing 1-2s and he's landing, and he's, really kind of not knocking back Gabriel Bonfim, but he's doing what he's supposed to do with his hands. But you watch what he does, and you watch how he generally fought before the title, before losing to Jack Della Maddalena, and you see a guy that, yeah, he used his hands, and knocking out Sean Brady might have been the beginning of the end for him, but you watch him struggle to realize in this fight that his hands aren't the best. He doesn't have the power, and that's not what got him to the show anyway. No, what got him to the show was the fact that he could put on the pace. And generally he does put on the pace on fighters until these last 3 fights when he's not able to. And then if I can't wrestle, I'm just going to rely on my hands. It doesn't work like that. And it didn't work like that for him his whole career up until these last 3 fights. His whole career, you see him shooting for wrestling, and sure, the first one might not work, the second one might not work, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th might not work, but that 11th might. You see him boxing into takedowns. You see him working his way into these positions that really make him a formidable opponent. That wasn't here. He had one knockdown or one takedown attempt against Gabriel Bonfim. The stats say 2. I don't even remember the second one. He pushed him against the fence, and Bonfim's like, I'm not worried about this. Bonfim laughed at him. It's like I started the second or third round, like right after the glove touch, Belal shot. Bonfim's like, I'm not laughing at him. And I think Bonfim's a good fighter. I do. I don't know if he is elite like he looked in this fight. See, he's going to be ranked top 5, maybe number 6. And welterweight, as dangerous and as good as it is, he's not going to have an easy time there, okay? You look at the rankings and you're like, okay, does he beat Shavkat Rakhmonov? Michael Morales is like a bigger version of him with no submissions but more power. Does he beat Michael Morales? He called out JDM, like that's the most winnable fight for him. Sean Brady's there. He's not going to fight like a Leon Edwards or Kamaru Usman. But Carlos Prates, do you really think he can beat a Carlos Prates or an Ian Gary? Like, no. He's at the point to where he's got to put himself into contention, and he can probably cause some ruckus there. Or he's going to try, or he's going to have to try. Like, you can't just go in there and be like, all right, now I'm top 5. What to do? Like, we see this all the time. Fighters, like, kind of put themselves in these positions, and now you got to live with it. Now you got to be there, right? The JDM fight's the one, that's the fight to make with them, but I just don't. I don't see Gabriel Bonfim as a great fighter. He's got good power. He's got good ideas on the feet. He deals with pressure, but like, I don't see him beating these top tier fighters. It's going to be hard when Islam Makhachev is your champion. What, are you going to submit him? No. Oliveira tried that, and it didn't work. So what are you going to do? Muhammad, though, man, yeah. Sucks for him. 3 in a row now, looking down. It's you got Amosov they're probably going to match him up with next, knowing the UFC. They're going to book him with Amosov. Rest in peace, right? Usman's a fight he could make. Joaquin Buckley, he could win that. But like Michael Venom Page, Uros Medic, rough. Not saying he can't win those fights, but like, man, they've got some dangerous fighters coming up for him. Now, your co-main event was Brendan Allen, Louisiana's own Brendan Allen versus Edmund Shabazian, and I really thought Brendan Allen was going to get knocked out this fight, especially as the fight went on. He wasn't really shooting takedowns, but Edmund does. I forget that he does this all the time. He does what he does and gasses. And that let Brendan Allen really kind of take over on the feet. One thing I like that Brendan Allen does okay is cage cutting, and he really constantly pressured Edmund Shabazian back the entire time. He's pushing Shabazian back to the fence behind the black line, the warning track as we like to call it, that little octagon where they put the names at that's kind of corny. Edmund Shabazian was constantly behind there the entire time, and Brendan Allen's like, I got you. You can't go backwards. You can go right or left. What you gonna do? Or I can shoot on you, but you can't go backwards. It was the game plan, and he did a real good job of kind of bringing the fight to him. Again, I thought he was going to get nuked because Brendan Allen is, as much as I like him, and he's the best fighter we got from Louisiana now, he kind of dropped the ball against Nasruddin Imavov, and then Anthony Hernandez, that was a fun fight, let's be real. You look back, Chris Curtis knees him and knocks him out. Sean Strickland knocks him out. He calling for the Sean Strickland fight, and he's making a good case, with the Vittori Ritter, now Edmund Shabazian, which is like a step back, but he's making a good case. 3 straight wins. But at middleweight, they got so many guys in the top 5 that are deserving. I'm not gonna say they're good, but they're deserving of a title shot. You look at Dricus, you look at Imavov, who deserves it over everybody else, and then obviously Hamzat Chimaev is there. He's got to beat one of those guys. And I don't know if he can. Tom Nolan defeated Fares Ziem. That was a fun fight. Tom Nolan's back. Fares Ziem is, he's an okay fighter. 2 guys that really heavily rely on their physicality weren't able to rely on their physicality because the other guy was just as lanky and long as them. Bryce Mitchell and Santiago Luna was a fun fight. Bryce Mitchell, everybody lets their hatred of him and their, his ignorance get in the way of the fact that he's a good fighter. Like, Bryce Mitchell's a dangerous, a good, and I won't say fun fighter, but he's a fighter worth watching because it's like, okay, this guy might actually present a problem to us. And he's now, 2-0 at bantamweight since moving down. The weight cut's not easy on him. But he's now beat Said Nurmagomedov after getting choked out by John Silva at 145 at UFC 314. That's a long time ago. Now he's beaten Said Nurmagomedov and Santiago Luna. And Luna, kind of showed how green he was in this fight. It wasn't his fault that he took technically it was his fault he took this fight on short notice. And he's a good fighter, but he was like only 8-0 against a Bryce Mitchell who, while he's a good scrambler, Santiago Luna was not ready for the grappling of Bryce Mitchell. You know, Angel Pacheco and Kang Lee are not good fighters compared to what Bryce Mitchell brings to the table. And I do think that Bryce Mitchell is a welcome addition to 135. I like him versus Raul Rosas next. That'd be super fun. I wanted Raoni Barcelos, but Mike Heck pointed out, like, hey, he deserves a top 10 fight. And yeah, I gotta agree. Iwo Baranowski knocked out Junior Tafa, really low kick kind of thing. Probably destroyed his ACL, MCL. Something snapped, and Junior Tafa had to fall. I don't know why Tafa's still in the UFC. 7-6, man. And Iwo Baranowski moves to 9-0, but like all first round finishes, like, do we have to go through this story again? Like, yeah, he's good, but like think about Robles Espanj. Eventually, he's going to run into somebody who's not scared of his power, especially at 205, and then it's going to be like, okay, well, what do I do now? And the answer is gas out. Alessandro Costa beat Louisiana's Matt Schnell. He's from Shreveport. He's from the other side of Louisiana. We don't always claim, but man, Matt Schnell's just 17-11, bro. Like, hang him up. I lost to Joseph Morales. Beat Jimmy Flick, but Cody Durden, Steve Ursay, Matthias Nicolau. Like, the guy retired and came back. Don't think it's really good for him. Marcus McGee and John Giannis had a good fight. That was fun. Edgar Sherry has knocked out Bruno Silva. Sherry's got some hands, dude. Somebody we'll have to pay attention to more in the future. Chelsea Chandler beat the cheat, Priscilla Cachoeira. Y'all know I hate Priscilla. Trying to gouge out Jillian Robertson's eyes when she was in a rear naked choke. So, you know, I've got no love for Priscilla Cachoeira. I hope she gets cut on this. That's 13-9 as her record, and she is now 5-1 in her last 6. So it's time to let her go. Joe Anderson Brito continues his run. Beat Jordan Leavitt. That's 2 straight for him after losing to Sabatini and William Gomez. Brito, you know, keep him in fun fights. This is a step in the right direction. Leavitt's a grappler, kind of will push you against the cage, and yeah. Jaisa Chavez defeat Dubin, and then Ketlin Souza defeated Ariane Karnalowski. So at the end of the day, this card, you know, it was okay. Not one that I'd be like, oh, let's go back and watch this and all that. But like, it really shows like Belal Muhammad's fall from what he was and how good he was. I don't think he is in a right spot. I don't think he's feeling it either. So I think part of this is going to be, should you maybe one more fight if the UFC goes back to Chicago for you, and think about hanging him up. Yeah. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. I just started 2 new episodes of Fight Finders. Pre-planning, plus the New Orleans episode that I've been promising for over a year now. Pre-planning them, though. Some interesting stuff. MMA, bare knuckle MMA. We might be back onto something, huh? Check it out here. Fight Finders, my baby. Go watch.